the start stops most people. And to not understand that in depth, in your gut, in your soul as a network marketing leader will be so detrimental as you move forward down this network marketing journey. That's what we're going to talk about on this session.
Welcome to the MLMsuccess.com podcast, the show designed to return the network marketing industry to its roots of personal growth, leadership development, and wisdom of the ages success principles. We share with you real success stories from real people that we hope will inspire and encourage you personally and help you progress forward in your business and your life. We believe if you build people, people will build the business. Now here is your host, who has been called the number one mind in network marketing, the MLM prophet, network marketing virtual mentor, and a host of other names that we will not mention because this is a family show. Frankly, he's just a small town guy that figured out that the real product in network marketing is people. Dale Calvert.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Dale Calvert. I'd like to welcome you to this session of the MLMsuccess.com podcast. I can promise you what I'm going to attempt to communicate is much deeper than it may seem on the surface, and it's something that I hope that you'll provide me some feedback as we go through and communicate, something that I think that we all need to be very aware of in today's world. The number of people that have bought hundreds of dollars in podcast equipment a year ago and have never recorded their first podcast is massive. There's people all over the world that have spent hundreds of dollars preparing their templates and their theme for their blog, and they've never written the first blog post. There's people from coast to coast that have attended a day trading investment boot camp from a guru and paid maybe $5,000, $10,000 to be at this boot camp and have not opened a stock trading account yet. There's many people all over the world that in the last month went to a guru's real estate investment introductory course. They spent $997 on books and tapes, and they never read the manual, never opened the manual, or listened to one CD yet. And I could go on and on and on, but you guys know it's true and you understand what I'm saying. Listen, this has always been a problem. We're going to now go back to the network marketing business model, which is why all you guys are listening in. But my point is, it's everywhere, and it's always been a problem. However, especially today, in today's network marketing environment, it's become what you can only classify as an epidemic. You know, people, I talked about on one podcast in the last 90 days how seminars, live events are starting to make a comeback, and there's all type of social reasons for that, and how groups of people and individuals, they go from event to event basically to get the selfie with the gurus so they can post them on social media, and then they go to the next big event and the next one and the next one for the pictures for social media. They don't even take a notebook with them. Okay, this is reality, guys. You can see it all around. And as it relates to the network marketing business model, it is as bad in our profession or worse than other niches. And as an industry, we should be, the leadership within this industry should be smart enough to recognize that and address that with people. Why don't they? Because then they might not come back to my next seminar, and I lose my commission on the worthless books and tapes that I sent them home with, because I know they're not going to read the book and listen to tapes anyway. Is that what's really going on? You have to ask yourself. I know that it's become an epidemic in the entrepreneurial world. The amount of people that are absolutely just delusional. Bob Crisp in his awesome book, in my opinion, the best book that's ever been written in network marketing, called Raising a Giant. Bob said that most people get involved in network marketing and they quit. They quit within their first 72 hours. And he goes on to explain that maybe they don't quit, like quit ordering product or quit, but emotionally, psychologically, they quit because they go into the marketplace like a chicken with their head cut off. I don't know if Bob says chicken with their head cut off, but I do. But they go in the marketplace and they do what all new people do. They make the number one mistake. It's the number one mistake 50 years ago. It'll be the number one mistake 50 years from now. And they talk too much. They try to convince people to buy, sell, or join. They try to explain what they saw on an online presentation. And people say, no, not that, not one of those things. That's a scam, blah, 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 blah. They get picked on. And they talk to 3, 4, 5 people, talking way too much, don't have a clue what they're doing, just fired up and excited. And people say no. And emotionally, psychologically, they quit. They shut down. And we've turned now into a business model whose major challenge, prior to the internet, was really just teaching people their time and time management and mindset concepts to help them stay in a focused rhythm and routine. That was the biggest challenge. We have to, because once you find somebody in that's willing to launch it correctly, and again, if they're not launching it correctly, guess whose problem that is? It's yours as an upline. It's yours as a sponsor. If you're not asking people day one when they join, look, we have a specific system for launching our business and for building our teams. Do you want to follow it? Or do you want to do it on your own? If you're not asking that question, I've talked about it multiple times on this podcast. Every MLM Training Club member has had this. I've talked to you about this continuously over and over and over, because as a leader, that's your first responsibility, to ask them, do you want to get plugged into our system, or do you want to do it on their own? And if they say do it on their own, then and I know what's going to happen. They're going to go out, they're going to blab too much, 3 or 4 or 5 people, and as Bob Crisp said, emotionally, mentally, psychologically, they will quit within the first 72 hours. It's predictable, guys. This whole business is predictable. It's predictable. But as a leader, if you're not asking that question, it's on you. It's not on them. If they say, no, I want to get plugged in, then what is the next thing that you do? And if you don't know that, then it means you're not a regular listener to this podcast, or you're not a member of the MLM Training Club. And I'm not going to go into it at this time today because I need to move on. But those are the first 2 steps as a quote-unquote leader you better get a hold of. You better get a hold of if you want to stack the odds for success in that person and your organization's team. If you want to stack the odds for success for you guys, then you got to get really, really good at that. Really good at that. And it happens 100% of the time with every member that ever joins your organization, period, end of story. I did a podcast probably a year ago where I talked about the one thing that would absolutely change the whole industry if, as a profession, we got good, really good at helping people get their business launched and give them proper direction into getting their business launched. You know how most people help people launch their business? This is what they say. If you need any help closing your people, you just let me know. Because if you need any help closing your people, you just let me know. You know why they say that? Because we've turned into an industry that all we've really accomplished in the last 15, 20 years is recruiting each other. We have turned into a business model today where the major challenge, again, at one point was helping people develop the time management, the skill sets and the mindsets to get in a consistent rhythm with their business. and again, I've talked about this many times, that I knew when I was part-time that if I could schedule 32 appointments a month part-time, that I could complete 15. If I completed 15, I was going to sponsor 5 new team members or customers. And if I could sponsor 5 new team members or customers, then I could control my financial future in this business model. That has not changed. 5 people a month, you control your financial future. That's it. So we've gone from a profession that's trying to help people get in a consistent routine, because as I've coined, many times, or I've said many times over the years and coined years ago, consistent effort doesn't always create consistent results, but it always creates success. Today, the network marketing business model is built around the acceptance of mediocrity. The acceptance of mediocrity. I saw this happening 20 years ago, and I've referenced this article many times. Inspire greatness or cater to mediocrity. That's one of the articles you can find. Download the PDF if you want over at topmlmtrainingarticles.com. Inspire greatness or cater to mediocrity. So network marketing, by definition, today, in my opinion, is no longer a business. It's really a social club. Leaders who take their time, energy, and effort to teach and train people spend most of their time talking to those that rarely take action. Leaders are spending every week all over the world, great people that love people, want to help people, want to support people. Every week they're spending the majority of their time, energy, and effort communicating and trying to inspire and train people where taking action is not part of the culture. Hanging out is part of the culture. And they're trying to inspire and motivate and teach people that rarely take action. Not action takers that are trying to get into a consistent rhythm and routine. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? I feel so sorry. I feel sorry for myself. Okay, but I've learned not to feel sorry for myself. I've learned how you have to take frustration and turn it into fascination. And quite frankly, I am fascinated at myself for the amount of time, energy, and effort that I devote to the network marketing business model and the people within it. It's like I still believe, man. I just still believe. I just know the power. I know what this profession can do. I know what it's done for me, and I know how it did it. I understand the path. And it wasn't by telling people what they wanted to hear all the time and trying to keep them on auto ship one more month. It was telling them, get your thumb out of your mouth. Get your thumb out of your mouth. Grow up. Let's go do this or go do something else, and it doesn't matter to me. So I just want to get really real for a minute. I don't know who you are. I don't know where you are. I don't know where you're listening to this podcast. And I know we have people from all over the world that listen. And I just hope you all realize how much I respect you as a human being. Sincerely. I respect people. I appreciate the hurdles and the paths and the challenges that different people have to persist through at different times in their life. But I would ask you, how many podcasts do you listen to on a weekly basis? The second thing I would ask you is, how much conflicting info are you exposed to every week? How much conflicting information are you exposed to every week? And then I would ask, why are you doing that to yourself? Now listen, I understand there's an information gathering stage that when you're trying to learn something new, we live in a world where we can get access to information on basically any topic we want. And if it's something that we're going to have to make part of us over the long term, which I would say building a network marketing team falls in that category, and it's a new skill set we're going to have to learn, then we gather as much information as we possibly can from as many sources as we possibly can, and then we figure out, as we look behind the curtain, we figure out, okay, who's taught other people to do that which I want to do? Not who's the most popular, not who looks like me, not who sounds like me, not who talks like me, but who has actually done it. And unfortunately, in the network marketing world, those choices are few and far between. That's just reality. So should you be past the information gathering stage right now? And I don't know, maybe you just joined your network marketing organization last week, and that's cool. I respect that. And I hope this will still make sense to you, because this is the path that I hope that the logic, sensible path that I hope you'll eventually get to. But some of you have been listening to this podcast from day one, and a half a dozen more. That's who I'm really speaking to. And that's who I'm really speaking to, because we got to get down to where the rubber hits the road here for just a minute. How much conflicting information are you exposing yourself to if you want to build a network marketing team? If you're in the process of building a network marketing team, and you want your organization to grow and expand and duplicate, and you're building your team right now, and you're a builder, you're a worker, you're going after it, how much conflicting information do you expose yourself to each week? And the next question is why? Because here's why. Here's a law. This is a law. A confused mind does nothing. Does nothing. A confused mind does nothing. And I don't care if we're talking about, I'm starting a podcast, I'm going to start a blog, I'm going to become a real estate investor, or I'm going to become a network marketing team builder. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's because it's all the same. From emotional, psychological perspective, it's all the same. A confused mind does nothing. So if you're a network marketing builder right now, I would ask you, how many prospects do you have right now? And I even hate to use the word funnel, but I've been using it before anybody knew what it was. And before the internet, was talking about funnels. You can go back and see some of the old videos that we did before the internet. So I've always been talking about funnels. My definition of a funnel and most people's definition of a funnel is two different things. And I understand that. I needed to clarify that. So I would ask, how many people do you have in your funnel right now? How many people did you knock off the fence and help them make a decision to buy your product and join your team, or not buy your product and not join your team right now last week? And I could go on and on and on. But the bottom line, I would ask you, has the start stopped you? And see, some of you are thinking, man, I have somebody on my team. She really needs to hear this. Forward it to her. But some of you, this is for you. Has the start stopped you? The start stops 60% of people. The start stops 60% of people. Why? Why does the start stop most people? Here's what I believe. We have access to too much or so much We have access to so much information that we don't know how to categorize the information in our life, in our business, based upon where we are, where our business is or isn't. It's not sequential. It's from multiple different sources, multiple different places, and there's no sequence to it. And when there's no sequence to information, the information becomes convoluted and not as valuable real quickly. We search for foo-foo dust that will work so well. We work for that magic foo-foo dust that's going to work so well for me that people are going to be calling me every day, screaming their credit card and phone, demanding to join me at the highest product package my company has available, and I'm going to have so much success that the company's going to demand that I teach my secrets at the next national conference. I'm going to be the featured speaker. And you guys have probably read the sales letter that promises that kind of BS. You've read it. And a lot of other examples, I could go on and on and on. I'm not going to. But I am going to ask you, and to thy own self be true, has the start stopped you? Has the start stopped you? Well, Dale, I've been working here and I had this come up and, then this happened. Look, I understand life happens. I understand life happens. And there may be a small number of people that listen to this podcast where sincerely a life event stopped you and give you the benefit of the doubt. Give yourself the benefit of the doubt. I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking to you. You know if I'm talking to you. You know, to thy own self be true. Because guys, there's people that have been around this profession 10, 15, 20 years, longer, and never got past the start stopping them. Now, yeah, they go to a conference and they get fired up for a week or two and they'll talk to 4 or 5 people and maybe hand out a couple brochures and they'll start, starting to get through some numbers a little bit until the excitement wears off. But they never develop the new brain cell patterns that put them in a consistent rhythm on a daily basis, which can be done. I've done it. I've taught other people to do it. You can do it. But you cannot do it if you're making excuses. You can't do it if you're making excuses. So I ask you, has the start stopped you? Well, Dale, I've really never even launched a business. I've heard this so many times, guys. Dale, I was in Shackley back in 1980, and I was in Herbalife. Dale, I was this, I've been around, Dale, I've been in this business. I've been in networking 28 years. Somebody told me last week, I've been in networking 28 years. And I wanted to think, okay, and how long have you been full time? But no, she still works her job for the state of Arkansas. Did you join to get out of your job? Yeah, I was going to. And see, again, this is how my mind works. People settle for so much less than they can become, and what this profession can provide. And as leaders, quote unquote, we've allowed that appeal to mediocrity culture to become mainstream in our profession. The focus is keeping them on auto ship one more month. It sickens me. It sickens me. It just sickens me. That's not what this is about. But let's get back to you. Why has the start stopped you? And I would always answer that, and I believe it to be true: fear of failure, fear of rejection. Fear of failure, fear of rejection. And then some people go, I don't have enough time, I'm doing this. Look, listen, time is not an excuse. Time management is the best kept secret of the rich. Okay, if you're having a problem with time, you know what, you were probably having a problem with time 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. It's not time. It's not time. You can tell yourself it's time, but it's not time. Some of the biggest growth I ever had in my career is when I was working 52 hours a week at IBM, scheduled 52 hours a week every week. Had some of the biggest growth during that time. So it's not time. And I've got multiple, time management over at MLM Health. We've got, free training there just on time management for network marketers, because it is different when you're in network marketing. So it's not time. You got to get down to where the rubber hits the road and get true. What is it? Most people, it's fear of failure, fear of rejection. Fear of failure, fear of rejection. And when you have fear of failure and fear of rejection, then what's happening today, there's a compounding of lack of clear direction, which creates confusion, because you have access to so much information. So when you have fear of failure, fear of rejection, instead of being able to focus in on that and deal with those brain cell patterns and reprogram your mind for success, which you can do, and instead of dealing with that, what's easier is just to continue to search out more and more information. And the more and more information that we search out, we end up creating more and more confusion and lack of a clear direction. Does that make sense? I really want to make sure that I'm making this point, that we have access to so much information that we do not focus on that we need to get past, to really get past it forever, never have to deal with it again, and be able to continue to move forward. Because the fear will raise its head next year, 10 years, 15, 20 years from now if it's not dealt with. That's the whole focus of the Programming Your Mind for Success program. Some of you have gone through that. You need to go through it again. ProgrammingYourMind.com. I mean, really, I'm just being straight with you, as straight as I can possibly be. Look, this is the most difficult business model in the world. It's also the most rewarding. It's also the most gratifying. It's also worth it. But things have to fall in place sequentially for you to maximize your true upside potential in this profession. One of our staff people, they give me different information from time to time, and they said, Dale, right now, over 1,000 people search on the internet how to talk people into joining my MLM. How to talk people into joining my MLM. How to talk people into joining my MLM. It's like, you got to be kidding me. How can this profession be around for as long as it has, offer what it does, and gotten so far off our axis? How does that happen? And it just, again, I have to stay fascinated with it, just beyond fascinated. See, the real product in network marketing is people. And you have to take care of yourself first. You have to put the oxygen mask on yourself first, as they tell you to do when they go through the rules before a flight. Put your oxygen mask on yourself before you try to help other people. Trying to teach that which you've never done and do not know is very common business practice in this profession. That's why on YouTube you have over 42,000 self-proclaimed network marketing teachers, trainers, gurus, consultants, etc. And I just want to encourage you as an individual, whoever you are. I'm not talking to everybody else right now. I'm talking to you. And if you know that the start has stopped you, then deal with it. Deal with it. To think you have to change the world, to think, you have to change the world, or to think that you can build a team and maximize your potential, and build a real business with real customers and a real duplicating organization of people without the right mentorship systems and a consistent weekly rhythm of exposing new people it's just naive. It's just naive. It's not going to happen. Okay? If you like hanging out with network marketers better than ladies at choir practice, cool. Keep hanging out. Keep enjoying the products and the people. But don't deceive yourself. See, I believe that there's a perfect business for everybody. I believe where people can grow and grow personally and financially in every aspect of their life. I believe that. I believe that there is. But I believe because we have access to so much information that sometimes we never really find our path. And it's okay if this network marketing business model is not for you, but I will warn you. There's not a six-figure full-time income earner that I've ever worked with who at some point along the path didn't have that same feeling that, hey, this is just not for me. I just can't do it. I'm not going to be able to do it. And again, if you try to do it with the skill sets and mindsets you enter the profession with, then 97% of the population couldn't do it. The beautiful part about this profession is the skill sets and mindsets that need to be developed are very identifiable. We try our best to teach them very sequentially. And if you choose, you can take the concept of the law of averages and not just make that a cool quote or a cool concept, but it can become part of how you feel and operate on a daily basis and who you are. And why did he say law of averages? I just pulled that out of the air. It could have been many other things. But you can sequentially learn how to master this profession if you can ignore all the foo-foo dust that you're surrounded with every day, and all the gurus that are going to share with you all the crap that they share with you every day. To me, people should be smart enough that if someone says, I'm going to show you how to be a well-paid network marketing consultant, even if you never sponsored your first distributor or sold your first product, that would be an indication to me to run and never listen to another word out of that person's mouth again. They promise, I'm going to show you how to sponsor 42 people in 22 seconds. I'm going to show, and it's just like, I don't know why, but I guess when you're in the gathering information mode. Maybe it's you're trying to find the quickest, fastest, easiest way to do it. And maybe during that stage, the foo-foo dust attracts you. But if you've been around 2 or 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7 years or longer, you should know better. You should know better. So I guess the purpose of this podcast is, if you're a person who the start has stopped you, then get real with that. Get down to where the rubber hits the road. Deal with it. Fear of failure, fear of rejection. Understand what's going on, that it's built into your DNA. Fight, flight, or freeze. And just understand it. And then try to find a mentor who has taught other people to do what you want to do, and try to not have original thought for a year and just get plugged in. I was talking with someone a couple weeks ago, and they said, Dale, I heard you years ago say don't have an original thought for a year. And he said, when you said that, it's like, I wish I'd listened to that. I wish I'd just listened to that. It would have saved me so much frustration. So again, guys, I appreciate you being with me on this week's podcast. I've been looking forward to this one for a while, because the fact that we used to have to focus so much on helping people get consistent on a weekly basis, consistency, I would love to be able to go back to those days, because now the norm in network marketing is you join and you hang out and you don't take action until you find cooler people that you can have selfies with at the conference, that you can join and hang out with. And nothing wrong with selfies at all. It's like I spoke at a national conference for a company last week, and I had multiple people that said, Dale, I know how you feel about selfies, but it's okay if we take a picture. And it's like, God, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm flattered by the pictures, sincerely. So I'm not anti-selfie. I'm just anti-people I'm anti-people not taking consistent action and allowing people on their team to let the start stop them. And I think for many quote-unquote leaders, it's easy to deal with that because they don't know what to do to help them get started except telling them, if you need help closing your people, you just let me know. It's like, it's really diminished to that point. And I know many of you are with me on this. You understand exactly what I'm saying. You're determined to do the very best you can and to help this profession that should be at the top of the entrepreneurial world, to get rid of the foo-foo dust and to tell people the truth. I mean, when you stop and think about it, where can you go? And with the right mentorship and focus and work ethic, and literally within 3 to 5 years totally change your financial future, where can you go and make that happen? What business model can that happen? It can happen here. It happened for me. It absolutely happened for me. I got out of my job in 5 years. I know what it feels like to make millions of dollars in a year from the commissions from your organization. I know, I understand it. I understand it at a level that it haunts me. And I just hope that something I've said today that you guys kind of understand that fear, failure, fear of rejection has always stopped 60% of the people, but now it's compounded. I would say that the start stopping most people is my guesstimate would be 90%, 9 out of 10 people that join a network marketing company. And what's horrific about that is, quote unquote, leaders are okay with that as long as they get on their webinars and their Zooms and stay on auto ship. Everything's cool. And that's kind of the mainstream feeling that nobody will say, but the activities show that that's kind of what everybody's doing. And some of you are like me. It's like, we got to take it. We got to get beyond this guy. We got something special here. We got to treat it that way. So I'm just going to end this week with this thought. If the start has stopped you, you know it. You know it. Please deal with it.
If you haven't gone over to iTunes yet and rated and left this podcast a review, what are you waiting for? At Calvert Marketing Group, we want to spend our time on the projects that we know are providing the most value for our clients and customers. You leaving us a review and feedback on iTunes is something that helps us more than you realize. And more importantly, it helps others like you find us. So if you've not taken the time to rate this podcast, please go over to iTunes and do that for us now. It will only take a couple of minutes out of your busy schedule. Work harder on yourself than you do on your business, and we will be back next week with another inspiring success story, wisdom of the ages training, or answers to your questions.